Nitro number 207, September 6th, 1999. Allow me to recreate the opening, the very first bit of this television program. Pyro's going off, there's dancing girls, there's music, there's cheering fans.
Ballyhoo.
Tony Schiavone is running down the show, and then he says this. We're going to start off by going to our own Mean Gene Okerlund. Music starts to play. There's more silence. Okay, fans, I'm told that I am incorrect. The information I've received is wrong. The show is not even 4 minutes old by this point, and they're already fucking everything up. Who should come out for a promo but Bret the Hitman Hart? He sucks up to the fans like a good baby face. Says he's been sitting at home too long, thinking too much. He's not ready to go back on the circuit full time. Should have said the loop. Until he gets one question answered. He wants the promoters and the fans to grant him one wish. He wants to fight Hulk Hogan.
Why?
Well, be the main event, make a lot of money.
I just don't get it.
And then he went on to say he didn't even want a title match.
Well, he said he certainly wouldn't. It didn't have to be for the title. It would be sweet if it was. Fans are split. Some like Bret, some like the Hulkster. Bret vows he would not come back full time until he got that match. I don't think he ever got that match, did he?
I believe he did.
Never know.
I think it sucked.
That
I don't think it was ever on pay-per-view.
That sounds right.
It is some TV matches or something.
Ricky Rackman is back.
Yeah.
Yep.
He comes out on stage. He's hosting the search for the new Nitro Girl.
It's a good gig to get.
There's worse. He brings out the current roster. They all talk about how talented the Miami girls are. And there are two finalists for the Miami... two contestants, one of them who will be a finalist from Miami in the Nitro Girl Search Contest. There is Zuli, who says she likes to dance and likes to do sign language and how much it means to her when she meets a deaf person and is able to communicate and sign, and that's very nice. Second contestant is Erica, who says, I'm not making this up, I never heard of the Nitro Girls until a few months ago.
Yeah.
She said this in her interview to be a Nitro Girl.
Yeah, she's a finalist!
And they put her on TV.
Yep. Made the air.
This goes on for a while. Zuli and Erica come out. They tell the fans to go onto WCW.com and vote.
Yeah.
They plug the party in. Why did I write so much about this?
I have no fucking idea.
I don't know. Lodi versus Evan Courageous. As a plant fan smacking Lenny with a sign, he gets dragged over the guardrail and taken away.
Hey, remember last week when Kaz Hayashi pinned Lenny Lane in that bullshit tag match?
Yes.
Sweet follow-up.
It's true.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because it was a singles match, but they switched.
Yes.
Yeah. The Deadpool come out.
Can we talk about this fan?
Okay.
There's some bullshit fan. I presume it had to be a plant.
Had to be.
He's got a sign.
He just starts smacking Lenny Lane in the face with it.
I know, but like, I thought it was a plant, but like, he was so gangly and goofy that it was almost like, this guy's just fucking, what?
I thought it was another member of 3 Count.
No.
I'm telling you.
It was not another member.
Moore,
Do you even
Shane
remember
Helms
who
would both
3
beat
Count
this guy's
was?
ass.
Well, I might have confused you for the guy in the ring.
No, it's just some numbnuts who was out there. And
This guy wasn't even a one count.
The camera stayed on him the whole time.
I know, it was funny.
Because it's WCW.
He was so over the top and ridiculous.
Usually when that happens, they pan away from the fan getting ejected.
Well,
because this was I don't know why, Craig. I don't know why they had a plant fan smacking Lenny Lane in the face with a sign. I don't know what it leads to. I don't know why we're supposed to care.
Nothing.
Don't know who thought it was a good idea, but it was a plant.
there's no way. It had to be real. I got to find out. But anyway, they yanked this guy away, and everyone immediately stops paying attention to the match.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe that was the point. The Deadpool come out, the camera's on them, and misses guys doing all the dives. And Lodi, who I realized here, because I watched the Raw main event, and then watched this opener, Lodi looks like mini Billy Gunn. And then he hits a diving bulldog and a wacky DDT for the win. 15 minutes after Tony introduced him, Mean Gene shows up. He calls out Hulk Hogan. Hulk has no idea why Randy Savage was in his dressing room. He has no idea what Lex Luger is up to. This is just between him and Sting. Yes, he owns a Hummer. It's not the same Hummer that took out Kevin Nash. He was roaring something about a 6-man cage match later, and he promised to kick some ass.
When he mentioned, everybody knows I got a black Hummer in Florida.
It was white.
And a white one in California. Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
I think he messed something up there.
Good save. Good save, Hulkster.
I mean,
All right.
probably did have two at the time.
I know.
Bet you haven't
Only
done
2?
that.
Okay, before we get into the segment in detail, there were bigger atrocities in the Monday Night Wars, but usually they involved somebody screwing something up or getting hurt or something like that.
Holy shit. Hold on a second. I'm looking at the Nitro report because I'm trying to figure out what Dave wrote about that plant. The show drew 3,800 fans.
Wow.
4,600 comps. Holy
So they
fuck.
So
They
negative
gave
people.
away.
People had free tickets and still didn't go.
Yes.
Hey, I watched the show.
No, you add them together.
I see.
So there were
3,800 paid.
Yeah,
46.
there were 10,000 in the building, but 3,800 paid, 4,605 comps. And by the way, they did give away a lot of comps, and the guys never showed up.
Yeah. So on that note, I believe outside of where things, as far as segments where everything went according to plan, this may have been the worst segment of the entire Monday Night Wars. Nothing went wrong here. Everything went exactly like it was supposed to go. All right? Keep all that in mind.
Okay, so it was a plan. C.G. Offee. Who was that?
CV Offee?
CG.
The Islanders partners?
Oh, that guy wasn't one of the Islanders.
He was a big man.
Tony Mamaluke.
Oh! Why did they do this to Tony Mamaluke?
He was a skinny geek.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get pulled through a guardrail.
Yeah, the guy that got pulled through the guardrail, they bill him here as 5'11" and 219 pounds. Get out of here.
Is that including the guardrail?
No.
Yeah, so that was him.
That guy's got to jump around in the shower to get wet.
That's your favorite line.
I do like that one.
There have been a lot of skinny guys on this show lately, apparently. All right. So this segment, which I built up to and then Brian distracted from, the worst segment of the Monday Night Wars.
Where everything went right.
Yes. Barry Horowitz wrestled an unidentified man.
Al Green.
Eventually, we were told it was Al Green. Barry Horowitz comes out. Graphic comes up. Barry Horowitz. If you've watched wrestling, he's been on Nitro before. He was in WWF for years. Never ever won except for that one feud with Chris Candido. But we know who he is. He comes out. And then out comes a guy. He's thick. He's energetic. He's got bleached blonde hair. He's yelling and screaming and spitting. There is no graphic. And the announcers are not talking about him at all. And this human comes out to wrestle, and he gets in the ring and begins to do moves with Barry Horowitz.
Yeah.
They're doing headlocks. They're doing a wrestling match. It's fine, but
No one cares.
it's going on. Minutes pass. Several minutes pass. The announcers are talking about a contest where the winner's going to get $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's all they care about.
Yeah, well, of course they fucking care about it. You have to watch to have a chance to win $1 million. They're bribing you.
And some people said, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
They're bribing you to watch this fucking show.
So several minutes go by.
This is not worth $1 million.
Not for a chance at $1 million. A
Chance.
slim chance at $1 million. Finally, Shivani just mumbles, it's Al Green and Barry Horowitz. Then, rather than to spend any time talking about what's going on, they begin to talk about a battle royal for later in the show.
Yep.
So then this segment,
Oh, will we ever get into that?
this segment, which has been horrible up to this point, gets many, many degrees worse because piano music starts to play. The Maestro makes his debut. He is lowered from the ceiling on a platform over by the stage. He's tickling the ivories. And then at the exact same time, Sid Vicious is coming down the ramp with the referee.
Not only that, he's coming down the aisle and he's screaming, Mr. Excitement is here!
And meanwhile, you hear just... doodle-doo, doodle-doo.
Yes, he kills them as piano music plays, which actually was great.
Yes.
All I
I'll
know
give
is
them that.
All I know is, as Barry Horowitz is wrestling Man A, and the Maestro is playing, I assume it's a network edit, because what he's doing with his hands is clearly not matching up with the music.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was the way it was in real life.
Maybe
Vinny.
it was, I don't know. Sid is screaming his head off. I laughed so hard. I was laughing and laughing and laughing at this clusterfuck.
I'm presuming that the Maestro was just a gimmick.
I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe it was a gimmick then, too.
This might
It's a detail.
mean nothing to either of you, but there was a Maestro character on Seinfeld. And I wonder which one came first.
I guarantee you Seinfeld came first. Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld was not stealing ideas from World Championship Wrestling.
You're probably right.
Maybe they came around independently. 1995.
There you go.
Seinfeld came first.
So the music eventually stops. Sid powerbombs dudes. His record goes up. Sid calls out Benoit. He promises to have a better record than Sting, Hogan, or Goldberg.
Well, he already beat two of them.
The West Texas Rednecks are having a meeting.
Oh,
They're in the locker room, and there's only 3 of them.
one of the rare gems on this show.
Kurt
Hideously, atrociously bad.
Kurt Hennig
but funny.
explains that Harlem Heat injured Bobby Duncan's shoulder and knee.
Yeah.
He's on the shelf. He's going to be out for months. What are we going to do?
They don't explain how, by the way.
Yeah, Harlem Heat.
I thought, man. I mean, they did later, but like here they didn't.
Yeah.
They're just talking about it like we should know why.
Yeah. At this point, the door kicks open. We see the silhouette of a cowboy with a bright light and smoke behind him. They should have played the good, the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly theme there. Yeah, and there should have been spurs jingling as he walked in. It's Vincent with a cowboy hat. He says he wants to be a redneck. They call him Curly Bill. Promise to give him a chance to prove himself tonight. And that's that.
He's not kidding, Rob.
Rob's crying over there right now. You should have seen it.
Isn't that the sheriff from Blazing Saddles?
You'd have cried twice.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's where the Curly Bill comes from. Harlem Heat comes out for a promo.
I got to do this one. Booker T comes out and he says, "We're here to burn this mother down and also turn this mother up." If you understand what I'm saying.
No,
Nope. Don't understand.
I don't think you can do both.
Stevie then says, "We're here to take out 3 fruit booties, if you know what I'm saying."
No idea.
Actually, I did know what he was saying. I'm going to take out 3 fruit booties.
I don't know what a fruit booty is.
They admit they ran fucking over Bobby Duncombe Jr. They fucking ran him over. They're just here admitting it on television. We ran his ass over. Vowed to become the 9-time champions. Booker T then says, I wrote this down word for fucking word. "Me and my brother, we like nitrous oxide. We could take you to the moon and back 2 times, if you understand what I'm saying." Anyone?
Well, you can buy the nitrous in balloon form at some concerts. Usually fish.
Wait, he said something about how the other tag teams in the division do not have enough power.
Okay.
Harlem Heat has enough power to get to the moon and back twice. So you're glossing over the best part of this.
No, I'm not.
Which is when Booker says, "We're going to raise the roof." And he throws his hands up. In the process, he knocks the microphone out of Mean Gene's arm.
Yes.
And Mean Gene looks at it, and in the most professional thing he's ever done, rather than make Booker look like a geek for knocking the mic out of his hand, Gene starts to raise the roof. Like, he's just too excited. And he picks up the mic, and Gene apologizes to Booker. That was amazing.
Well, Booker is a large man.
Well, that's true. So Stevie Ray didn't just say they'd be 9-time tag team champions. He says they'll be 9-time tag team champions. So if you ever want to know where Booker got his 5-time world champion line, he stole it from his own brother. Sting and Lex going... Oh, my God. I totally forgot about this. All right. Sting and Lex Luger go into Hulk Hogan's locker room. They find Hulk Hogan talking to Bret the Hitman Hart. They're sitting down having a nice, polite conversation like gentlemen. Sting and Lex come like maniacs. They demand 5 minutes of Hogan's time. Hogan's pissed off, but he says, "I'll grant you 5 minutes. It won't take that long." He walks away. At this point, the screen goes dark.
Went to commercial.
I am watching this in 2018 on the network. I assumed it had gone to commercial.
Yes.
Based on what the announcers were saying,
It didn't look like it.
they didn't go to commercial here. The lights just went out. And they came back on 4 seconds later. That's what they said.
That's what it looked like.
They're idiots.
I know, but
There's absolutely a commercial here.
in 4 seconds, the lights go out, the lights come back on.
No, this is impossible.
That's what they said. I promise you. I promise you.
No, you're right, Vince.
The announcers
No, this is
said-
impossible.
Because I wrote down
That's
they went
no,
to commercial. And they
I
came
cannot.
back.
I cannot.
Listen.
No.
No.
I can't, Vinny. There's no fucking way. There's no.
I wrote down
No!
the commercial and came back. And then the announcers corrected me and said the lights went out and back on.
No!
So in this flick of the lights, someone managed to silently concuss Sting, lay him out unconscious, and also turn a couch over on top of him.
No. There's a break. I don't care what they said.
There was no break on
No, Craig. They're just not.
Now,
I'll quit this show.
listen, Brian.
No.
Even if you're right, they go to commercial and they come back. Everyone's still where they had been.
Yes.
So I assume Hogan, in your world, Hogan and Sting and Bret must have all left. Someone attacked Sting and put a couch on him.
Yeah.
Then Hogan, Sting, and Bret returned in the dark.
Yeah.
And then the cameraman turned the lights on, and then they found him.
Yes.
That's your theory.
I mean, yeah. There's no way Hogan turned around and 2 seconds later there's a fucking couch on top of Sting and he's been concussed.
Yeah. So, security pulls Lex away.
Yeah. Hogan's yelling at Luger saying, "You did this. You're setting me up." Luger denies it.
Do either of you follow Backyard Wrestling Without Context on Twitter?
Yes.
This was exactly like a Backyard Wrestling Without Context Backyard Wrestling Without Context clip, only A, it was not Backyard Wrestling, and B, there was context. But it still made no sense.
Well, then it wasn't context.
We have reached the Battle Royal.
Okay. I wrote every word of this down.
Jeez.
Word for word. Are you ready?
Fine.
They announced that something is going on. I presumed later. It turns out tonight. They fucking put on the screen. It fills the entire goddamn screen, these words. There's going to be a battle royal. Here's what it says. First 4 thrown over the top rope are eliminated. Next 6 eliminated will wrestle against each other later tonight in singles matches. Based on the order of elimination, final 2 men will fight for the shot at world title next week, regardless of who wins at Fall Brawl. An entire fucking screen of words.
For a Battle Royal.
Can't you just have a fucking battle royal
Just do it.
and then have a match with the 2 winners? What's with all the extra bullshit?
So, the competitors in this 12-man Battle Royal were 3 sets of 4. You have Jimmy Hart's crew.
Jerry Flynn, Hugh Morris, Brian Knobbs, and the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm. You have the Revolution of Dean Malenko, Shane Douglas, Chris Benoit, and Perry Saturn. And the West Texas Rednecks of Kurt Hennig, the Windham Brothers, and Vincent.
Yes.
Except Kurt Hennig never gets in the ring.
Yes.
Kurt Hennig does not want to fight for the world title.
He's my hero.
Well, he also didn't want to be in the shitty-ass Battle Royal.
This was not the all-in battle royal.
No.
This was a terrible Battle Royal.
It was fucking...
By this, most Battle Royals are terrible. This is on the low end of the Battle Royal spectrum. It's going on and on and on. There's a bunch of eliminations. Finally, just a bunch all at once. And it comes down to the final 2 of Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. And I am to believe that Benoit and Malenko will wrestle later, and the winner will wrestle Hulk Hogan next week.
Yes.
Okay. Color me skeptical.
Well, unless Hogan loses the title.
I guess that's true. There's the pay-per-view. Now, we'll get to all that later. So it was terrible and long and terrible. Crowd was training for Goldberg. That tells you anything. Johnny Swinger versus Prince Iaukea. It went 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Where are they getting these guys?
Can we just stop for a second and just tell everyone that it was Prince Iaukea versus Johnny Swinger?
We can let that sink in.
Are you absolutely fucking kidding me?
That happened.
They're unopposed again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It went on fucking forever.
Yeah. You know, I don't think it was that long. I think
It felt like it.
they went 1,000,000 miles an hour, and the fans didn't care. We're chanting boring the whole time.
I mean, Johnny Swinger actually looked pretty good. Iaukea looked terrible.
By
Nobody,
IKEA standards,
nobody cared.
nobody cared. The highlight of this match, Swinger grabs Prince Iaukea and does a cravat leg sweep. And Shivani says, that's a great move by the Prince. And then the Prince is down selling. Swinger sits up and smiles. Like 10 seconds go by, and Shivani cannot adjust his worldview to realize this was a move by Swinger. He says, Iaukea got the worst of that one somehow. Like, he had no idea what was going on. Crowd is chanting for Sid. They do not get Sid.
So was I, actually.
They get the Deadpool instead. Violent J trips Swinger. Vampiro hits the Michinoku driver, and Iaukea pins him. Is Vampiro going out of his way to produce the worst stable in wrestling history? He wants to recruit Evan
I
Courageous
can't take much more of this.
and Prince Iaukea.
I can't take much more.
My favorite thing about
We're going to
Vampiro-
talk more about this.
the Vampiro when he attacks, he literally does it inches away from the ref.
Yeah.
He doesn't sneak at all.
The show sucks. It's a bunch of idiots doing shit.
Buff Bagwell's doing an autograph session when who should interrupt but Berlin and his new bodyguard, who would later be known as The Wall.
Oh,
You didn't know who that was?
You didn't recognize the wall?
I was paying so little attention to the show at this point. All I know is Bagwell signing autographs in Berlin. I didn't look at who else was there. I fell asleep or something. The fucking wall's there now.
Yeah, wall is here.
Jesus.
So Buff makes fun of Berlin for not having a shirt on sale. Berlin cuts a promo on him in German. Everyone lets him finish, then boos, and security has to hold Buff back. Buff Bagwell versus Steven Regal.
Why do we even bother? Just a bullshit match. Dave Taylor hits Buff with a flagpole. Bagwell hits a blockbuster, wins. I will give them I will say one positive thing. The fans cared about Buff.
See,
this is the first match of like 9 matches that anybody gave a shit about anything.
In this match, you had Steven Regal, who's a great wrestler, and Buff Bagwell was a great cartoon character, and it was a good match for that reason.
Yeah, for
I
like
enjoyed
1
this.
minute.
It was not much longer than that. And yeah, okay, well, that's it. Buff cuts a promo saying he loves Miami and the USA. At Fall Brawl, Berlin will be fighting the whole US.
Allow me.
Please, be my guest.
They're fucking unopposed. Last week there was one fucking good match on the show. It was Eddie Guerrero and I don't remember who was in it. It was a bunch
Tag
of
match.
Eddie and
luchadors.
Ray and somebody else.
So this week they've got Eddie Guerrero, Kidman, Chavo, Psychosis, Blitzkrieg, and Hoovy. Instead of going in there and doing an all-action 6-man Lucha Libre
fucking trios
extravaganza,
match.
they fucking go in there and they do an American-style heat on Kidman. Everyone standing on the fucking apron in front of a dead crowd. Just the most boring-ass match. There's a hot tag, like maybe 2 dives. Eddie hits a frog splash for the pin. Could you have like a worse usage of talent? The show is not even funny in its badness. It's just fucking bad and boring.
Why was Juventud dressed like Kidman?
Gives a shit.
No, this is worth talking
Why did they
about.
do an American-style match?
Because. So, Hoovy apparently thought it'd be a funny rib to put on a wife beater and jorts and wrestle like Billy Kidman. And this made Tony Schiavone confused because he could not tell Billy Kidman and Juventud Guerrera apart, even though one is 4 inches shorter and tattooed and Mexican. Yeah, so went on for a while. The Deadpool came fucking back out, and Eddie won with a frog splash. And I wrote, it was a spectacle. I don't know if in a good way or not.
We've got to move on.
Kendall Windham versus Shane Douglas.
Kendall Windham and Shane Douglas?
It's a real match, everyone. A real match while the wrestling war is going on and you're fighting for your life.
Painful. Nobody gave a shit about Shane Douglas.
Yeah.
Nobody
you don't
gave a
fucking
shit
say.
about Kendall Windham.
Shane Douglas, fresh off being the franchise in ECW and whatever you want about him, he had his success as a mean guy who pissed off the fans, and here he's supposed to be the hot young babyface in peril.
Kurt Hennig waffles Douglas. The Revolution is watching on the monitor. They don't do anything.
They don't give a fuck.
They're just like, damn it! Let's keep watching. Harlem Heat runs down.
Thank God for Harlem Heat, I guess.
Did a split screen, so I don't know what the fuck they did.
I had no idea. I was so confused.
But Douglas hits a Pittsburgh plunge and wins, which at least got a pop. That's the only thing that got a reaction in this match.
Yep.
They plug videotapes.
Yep.
I'm just moving forward here.
Then from Shane Douglas and Kendall, when do we get Jerry Flynn and Barry Windham?
Oh,
This will alarm you, but there are boring chants here. Here's the finish. Vincent beats up Jerry Flynn on the floor. He throws him in, and Barry hits a DDT and wins.
I guess. He grabbed his neck and just like fell asleep. They both fell down. Wyndham's on top and wins.
Going through the motions, absolute bare minimum effort put into this pro wrestling match.
Horrifying.
Mean Gene awkwardly brings Berlin out for a promo.
Finally, something good. I like Berlin. He's got a good look. He's got great delivery.
He's got a great gimmick.
He's got a great
The
gimmick.
easy, great gimmick of the guy who can speak English but chooses not to because it's too...
Yes.
He's above it.
We got Udo Lutendorf, who cannot remember her lines to save her life,
And
as a professional actress.
She can't remember her lines, and I'm certain she's reading a few cards.
Well, every now and then he would talk to her
Yes.
off mic, and then she'd say...
See, I watched this. Part of me thinks she forgot her lines and Berlin had to feed her stuff. Part of me think the gimmick was that he was specifically telling her what to say and didn't want the crowd to hear him. I don't know. It's fucking Berlin. Who cares? But it was fun.
I care.
It was fun.
One guy on the show I kind of care about for this week.
Berlin.
It won't last.
No,
I'm pretty sure, by the way, it was just Una Lundorf last week, and they changed it to Lutendorf this week.
Yes.
So
It'll be Farfalutendorf next week.
all I know is Una Lutendorf screwing up her lines is still a better promo than like half the wrestlers of 2018.
Yes.
This was fun. And the best part is they finish, and they're going to the back, and Shivani says something to wrap it up, and Heenan adds, and that's all you need to know. Baron Von Raschke tribute.
Yes.
Hugh Morris versus Perry Saturn. So, quick aside, they also sent best wishes to Brian Hildebrand, and Heenan called him the only referee I've ever liked, which is probably a shoot. So, Hugh Morris and Perry Saturn, are there ever two guys who had more physical gifts and did less with them? They were not very good. They could do all kinds of cool shit. They had really bad matches more often than not.
Well, I mean, Saturn...
Mostly Hugh.
It's mostly Hugh Morris.
It was mostly Hugh. That's boring ass match, and that's before we got the long chin lock.
Hugh Morris,
I'm watching this fucking
future
match.
WWE trainer, almost killed Saturn with a press slam off the top.
Gosh. Yeah. I was traveling this weekend, and on my way home Sunday night, I was trapped in an airplane with nothing to read and nothing to watch, and just listening to my phone and staring at the seat an inch in front of my face. That was more fun than watching this Nitro. Saturn made his comeback. What the fuck happened? Hugh missed a moonsault. Saturn hit a judo throw in the rings of Saturn for the win. Do either of you have the time and energy to recap the Road Report segment?
No. 1-800-CALL-ATT. That's all I got out of it. There was a good-looking girl at a pool. This fucking guy apparently had to call for his job and had to call collect.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Stupid.
He was also laying on a Grateful Dead beach towel.
Well, there you go. See, you guys are way better.
Okay.
All I got out of this was it was fucking terrible. Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. This was a wrestling show in front of wrestling fans who wanted nothing more than to watch good wrestling. And when they got a good wrestling match, they really, really liked it for 3 minutes.
Well, actually, when they first started wrestling, the crowd is dead because the show is so terrible. These guys are working their asses off. And finally, they did some spot and the crowd gave them this big ovation.
Yeah, they woke up.
I thought, finally, they fucking woke this crowd up. And then out comes this motherfucker Sid.
That should have been his name. That motherfucker Sid.
And you know what's funny? I'd been begging for this fucker to come out all night long. Where the fuck were you during the Kendall Windham match? Where the fuck were you during the Barry Windham match? Where the fuck were you during the Hugh Morris match? Where the fuck were you during the Prince Iaukea match? Where the fuck were you during any of these matches? The one fucking match he has to come out, it's Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko at the end of the show? Fuck you! I hate this show!
Yeah. So he has the worst brawl of all time with Dean Malenko, where they both freeze and get deer in the headlights looks, and then he power bombs him.
Yeah, Malenko cocks his fist, and Sid freezes, and Malenko freezes, and then Sid boots him.
Yeah.
Oh, this shitty game of chicken.
Sid goes after Benoit. Benoit backdrops him out of the ring. At this point, Tony Schiavone says, well, there can't be a DQ because he attacked both men. Has there been a DQ in every match over the past several weeks when Sid's attacked both men?
Well,
Or because Sid did not pin either of these guys
he
here?
didn't pin him, so I
there's
don't
no finish to
fucking
anything.
know. The show is horrid.
Crowd was pissed off now. They had been liking this match, and Sid ruined it. They're chanting bullshit. They were correct. Rick Steiner and Sid and DDP.
Help me. What was this match supposed to be? Does anybody know?
Yes.
Well, okay, what was the advertised match?
It was originally booked as Steiner, Sid, and Page versus Hogan, Goldberg, and Sting.
Correct.
So it started as 3-on-2 because maybe Sting was still under the couch.
Huh.
Sure. He'd gotten hurt earlier in the show, you see.
So Hogan comes out by himself. Like a dipshit, he gets into the cage. They all start triple teaming him. Goldberg comes out doing his entrance. Now, in his defense, he's like amid the pyro, so he can't fucking see. So he has no idea that Hogan's getting beat up. But then pyro clears, and he still just strides down to the ring. Don't worry, I'll fix it when I get there. The cage had a rough for Christ knows what reason. They do this match.
That's one of your problems with this?
It's not a problem, but I thought that I kept waiting for something to happen with the roof. It was just in their way. They were still trying to do top rope moves and stuff. Oh, so it's a 3-on-2 match. Everyone's brawling. Sting appears on the ramp. Lex tries to hold him back. Sting powers his way through, enters the cage. Huge pop for his comeback. They all hit their moves. Hogan pins Page with a leg drop. So, okay.
Actually, that's not what happened, Vinny.
It's not?
He hits the damn leg drop. The referee drops down.
Yes.
He counts 1. He counts 2. He holds up his count. The fans chant 3. The guy rings the bell. Why did he fucking hold up his count?
I don't have an answer.
What the fuck's going on?
I don't know.
Aside from it's WCW, they can't do anything right.
I don't know. Well, on the subject of WCW doing nothing right, if you have not been able to tell from this show, this was the go-home show for Spring Stampede and the Hulk Hogan versus Sting main event.
Fall Brawl.
Fall Brawl, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's fall, as Craig noted earlier. I was not listening. The main event for Fall Brawl is Sting versus Hulk Hogan, and they go off the air in the go-home show in this method. Hogan pins Page.
Yes.
Lex Luger comes out and begins to argue with Sting.
Yes.
And then Sting and Lex trade punches. And they go off the air.
What happened
What
is
the fuck?
Sting and Luger are yelling at each other. Okay? They're screaming back and forth. Sting finally, he's like, I'm done with you. And he turns around, he starts to walk towards the ropes. Fucking Lex Luger walks up to him and just punches him in the face and then walks away. They don't start a brawl.
No.
Luger just walks up and he punches him in the face and then he backs up and Sting turns around and goes, what'd you do that for?
He punches him back.
And then he punches him.
Yeah.
And then they go off the air.
What are you doing, dude?
What are they doing?
That was so dumb.
Why did Luger just walk up and punch him?
I don't know.
I hate this show.
This was a terrible show. This was much worse than Raw in hindsight. Raw was no good.
Oh, dude, it was worse than Raw. It was worse than last night's Raw. And there was one good thing on last night's Raw.
That's true.
This was 1,000 times worse. I wrote 10 times on Twitter, I'm wrong. Easily 1,000 times worse than last night's Raw here in 2018. Just another great example. RD should have showed up, put this fucking tape on the screen, mic drop, and walk the fuck out. This is indefensible, this show.
Music, please. The finishes on this show were pin after distraction, no finish when Sid powerbombed 2 dudes in the middle of a concerto, technically no finish in a battle royal, at least not yet, pin after interference, pin despite interference, clean pin in a trios match, the first on the show, pin after interference, clean submission, no finish due to Sid, clean pin in a 6-man cage match.
Jesus, how long was this show?
Fucking long.
35 minutes to go through a bunch of shitty finishes.
Yeah.
Or 35 seconds.
Yeah.
Russo's got to show up soon. Like, Raw has got to get better.
Suddenly,
Here's what it is,
he's
okay?
the savior.
Raw needs to get better, and Nitro needs to get worse, or I can no longer do this job. Do you understand? I cannot take it the way that it is right now.
I see your point, but you're exactly right. Oh, gosh. Well, let's end the show.
I came back from All In Weekend for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're out of time, everybody. I'm out. We'll be back. Fuck, who cares?
Yep.
Talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.